We have another low coming and we have a cold change for some parts of New Zealand. Hi, I'm Philip Duncan with your weekend weather forecast and the outlook for next week. And at the moment, it's a bit windy around northern New Zealand. Now, Auckland, pretty much on the borderline of that. The further south you go, the calmer it is, and the further north you go, the windier it is. So we've seen some blustery conditions off and on, nothing too problematic, but you can see that the subtropical portion, well out to the east now, is about to be replaced by a colder southerly change. Now, it's not brutal, but it's certainly going to drop temperatures back after the warmer than average week we've just had. We've also got a fair bit of rain coming, and with that low tracking across the North Island's getting most of the rain. There are two kind of remarkable features about this rain map. The first is that most of the North Island is pretty much in that same colour category, around the 45-50 millimetre mark. The other thing that jumps out to me is the West Coast has no rain. I mean, there's a little bit up there in the north and a little bit down in the very south, but for the most part, our wettest region in the country is looking mainly dry over the next 5 days ahead. We've also got some snow in there with that colder change coming through. Most of it is in the mountains and ranges. That's the good news. And the snowfall totals are not very big. Look at these ones down here. A lot of that in that blue colouring and white colouring. That's just a couple of snow flurries. It's nothing much. So there'll be a little bit of heavier snow up around the mountains north of Hanmer Springs, and also the North Island Central Plateau. That is where we've got the rain falling, and you throw a southerly into that and it falls as snow. So that's why we think the North Island might actually get some greater snowfall totals, even though the South Island will be colder. So let me explain that. Here's Saturday. Saturday's the best day of the weekend. Might be a bit cloudy around Wellington, still a little bit windy on the eastern side around Mahia and Gisborne, and also still a little bit windy and showery around the Auckland region, and that'll affect your neighbours around Northland and Waikato as well, but the wind tunnel is sort of blowing through Auckland. There'll still be sunny spells. It's not a major, but just letting you know it won't be a perfectly sunny day. Now we get to Sunday, and that big low in the Tasman starting to stretch apart, pushing into the North Island, and there'll be some rain and showers and drizzle patches and dry spells. And in the South Island, you'll get some rain moving down, but this is where it's quite interesting. Sunday is a very cold day in the South Island. Some places will only be around 5 degrees at the warmest point. Parts of Canterbury only around 7-8 degrees. And that's because the winds coming through here, coming up from the south, they're coming from a long way south of New Zealand, curving around and meeting that rain. And I mentioned just before how the snowfall totals in the North Island could be quite big. Well, that's because we've got warm rain coming down, meeting that colder weather. So as we go to Monday, in comes that cold and at the same time you've got that rain. So there could be some pretty heavy snowfall totals around the mountains, ranges of the central North Island. It might affect some of the state highways, so just be aware of that. Otherwise, things are improving a little bit on Monday in the south. Things do start to warm up a little bit, just a little bit, and the low moves closer to the North Island. So another wet day on Monday for you, and another wet day on Tuesday as well. The South Island, you can see why it's staying mostly dry there as we've got that low pressure system moving through. And our final map finally shows that low drifting away from us, but you can see the North Island is really mostly impacted. High pressure comes in around the middle of the week. We've got that for a few days. Friday next week turns a little colder, and there could be another low coming for the North Island the following Sunday and Monday. That is all from me for today. I don't want to give you any more news. Thanks so much for your support this week. Take a look at the main news story on our website at the moment. It's all about the double up of government weather forecasters. Doesn't matter if you're left or right wing, this should interest you. There's a lot of tax money disappearing into thin air. Go take a look at that. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.